A strange tension hung in the air. Conversations hushed. Eyes flickered toward the tall man seated by the window dressed in a simple hoodie, worn jeans and sneakers. He didn't look like he belonged in this high-end restaurant where luxury was the rule and appearances mattered more than anything. What happened next would leave everyone in that room speechless. But before we dive into this unforgettable story, if you're new here, welcome to Storytime with Rose. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, hit that like button, and share this story with your friends. And of course, I'd love to hear your thoughts, so be sure to leave a comment below. Now let's get back to the story, trust me. You don't want to miss what happens next. The warm midday sun drenched Beverly Hills, casting golden reflections on sleek cars and glimmering storefronts. Nestled among these symbols of luxury was Shaquille's Table, a restaurant known for its exquisite cuisine and clientele as polished as its gleaming marble floors. The ambiance inside was nothing short of opulent white tablecloths draped over mahogany tables. Chandeliers twinkled like captured starlight, and the gentle hum of jazz completed the picture of sophistication. Shaquille O'Neal ducked slightly as he entered through the double doors. At 7 feet 1 inch tall, even the grand entrance wasn't quite built for his size. Dressed in a simple gray hoodie, faded jeans, and sneakers with scuffed soles, Shaq looked like any regular guy grabbing a casual lunch. Heads turned briefly but didn't linger. Without his usual entourage or flashy jewelry, most patrons failed to recognize the basketball legend. That was just fine with Shaq. He liked to keep things low-key when he could. Finding a quiet table by the window, he eased into the chair, which groaned slightly under his massive frame. He gazed outside at the bustling street, enjoying the rare moment of peace. But peace wouldn't last long. A waiter approached, tall, lean, and impeccably groomed. His slicked-back hair gleamed under the soft lighting, and his nose tilted slightly upward, as if accustomed to looking down on people. The waiter's eyes swept over Shaq's attire, lingering a beat too long on the hoodie and sneakers. His expression twisted into a polite but condescending smile. "Sir," the waiter said, his tone crisp, "are you sure this is the right restaurant for you? We have certain standards here." Shaq's brow furrowed slightly, but he kept his voice calm. "Yeah, I'm sure. Just here for lunch." The waiter's smile thinned. "Perhaps you'd be more comfortable at a diner down the street? They serve simpler fare." Shaq leaned forward slightly, his deep voice steady. "I like good food. That's why I'm here." The waiter sighed, clearly unimpressed. "Very well. I'll get you a menu, but we expect prompt ordering and proper decorum." He spun on his heel and walked away, his polished shoes clicking sharply against the floor. Shaq shook his head slightly, muttering under his breath, "Man, some folks just don't get it." Across the room, the restaurant manager, a sharp-eyed woman with a commanding presence, had witnessed the exchange. Her lips pressed into a thin line as she strode purposefully toward Shaq's table. "Mr. O'Neal," she greeted warmly. "Welcome back. I'm so sorry for that inappropriate behavior." Shaq waved a hand dismissively. "It's cool. No need to make a scene. I insist on taking care of you personally today," she said firmly. "Please, enjoy your meal." Shaq nodded. "Thanks, I appreciate that." As Shaq enjoyed a perfectly cooked ribeye with truffle fries, the earlier exchange lingered in his mind. He was used to people making assumptions based on appearances. It came with the territory, but it still stung. When his meal ended, the manager returned, the waiter trailing nervously behind her. The once arrogant man now looked sheepish. His shoulders slumped. The manager's voice was crisp. "Our guest has something to say to you, doesn't he?" The waiter cleared his throat, his face flushed. I'm sorry for judging you, sir. I didn't realize who you were." Shaq leaned back, his massive hands resting on the table. His voice was calm but carried weight. "That's the problem, man. You shouldn't have to recognize someone to treat them with respect. I could be the janitor, the bus driver, or the CEO, it don't matter. You treat everyone right." The waiter nodded, guilt evident in his expression. "You ever been to a basketball game?" Shaq asked, his tone softening slightly. The waiter blinked. Yeah, of course." Shaq grinned. You ever hear the crowd cheer when someone makes a great pass or scores a basket? They don't care what clothes the player's wearing. They care about the heart they show on the court. The waiter's eyes widened with understanding. Shaq stood up, towering over everyone. Next time someone walks in, think of it like this. They might be about to make the best play of the day, and you don't want to miss it just because you judged them too fast. The restaurant fell into a hushed silence as other diners, who had quietly witnessed the exchange, leaned in. The manager's eyes gleamed with gratitude as Shaq turned to her. "You've got a great spot here. Keep it that way." Before leaving, Shaq did something unexpected. He pulled out a crisp $100 bill and handed it to the waiter. "For the lesson you just learned, don't forget it." The waiter's hand trembled as he accepted the bill. "Thank you. I won't." As Shaq walked toward the door, a round of applause rippled through the restaurant. Patrons stood, inspired by his humility and wisdom. The waiter watched Shaq leave, his heart heavier but wiser. He would never forget the lesson he learned from a man who didn't just tower in height but in character. And neither would anyone else. And just like that, Shaquille O'Neal didn't just leave a tip, he left a lesson. A lesson that respect should never be reserved for those we recognize, but extended to everyone we meet. Sometimes, the most unforgettable moments happen when we least expect them, and they remind us of the power of humility and kindness. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like the video and share it with someone who needs a little inspiration today. And I'd love to hear your thoughts. What did this story teach you about judgment and respect? Let me know in the comments below. And of course, if you're new here, don't forget to subscribe to Storytime with Rose for more motivational, heartwarming, and educational stories. Until next time, keep spreading kindness and living with an open heart. See you in the next story.